After giving birth, my figure got out of shape. My husband said he didn't mind, but he compared me with my best friend Lila. Both of you are women. Why are you so fat and ugly after having a baby? And your breasts are sagging. If I had married Lila back then, I'd be having such a good time now. Even when I had a heart attack and called for his help, he pretended to be asleep and ignored me after my death. I was reborn back to the gay. Gabriel confessed his love to me. I pushed Lila forward and said, "Stay away from me, you two are a perfect match." On the day Gabriel's company went public, he invited many of his classmates to celebrate. He specifically invited Lila, my best friend who had broken off our friendship for him. By coincidence, Lila and I showed up at the same time. I was wearing a simple and loose t-shirt, while Lila was wearing a form-fitting off-the-shoulder dress with delicate makeup. The black dress hugged her curvy figure, making her look even more charming than before. Everyone's eyes were drawn to Lila, and Gabriel was no exception. After a while, Gabriel came over, pulled a long face and shouted at me, "Why are you so late? Making everyone wait for you, or aren't you ashamed?" Then he turned to Lila, raised the corners of his mouth, and made a gentlemanly gesture of invitation. "Why are you so late? Everyone's been waiting for you. Princess, please take your seat." The classmates cheered, and no one paid attention to me behind Gabriel. No one remembered that I used to be more outstanding than anyone present. If I hadn't married Gabriel and been coaxed into being a full-time housewife, I would also be able to behave gracefully and speak elegantly now under such a strong contrast. I felt extremely wrong. Gabriel turned around and roared at me, "What are you standing there for? I told you not to come. But you insisted." "You were just embarrassing me." This angry shout finally made people notice me. "Hey, isn't this the talented and beautiful girl in our class? My God, Elena, how did you become like this after having a baby? I really didn't recognize you with this fat and ugly appearance." Lila's mockery was blatant. The more humble she was when chasing Gabriel back then, the more sarcastic she was now. Our class beauty is really confident. She doesn't have any body image anxiety at all. Unlike me, I was so anxious after giving birth. She looked me up and down with a disdainful expression. I stood there, extremely embarrassed. I looked at Gabriel helplessly, hoping he would stand up for me, but his expression changed several times. And then he came over and pushed me out. He said to me in disgust, "Both of you are women. Why are you so ugly and fat after having a baby? And your breasts are sagging. Why does Lila smell so good? Why, you smell like milk. You know, today is the day my company goes public. I told you not to come, but you just wouldn't listen. Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me? Besides, can you even talk to others like she does? Can you understand what others are talking about?" Every word was about Lila, though he didn't mention her name directly. My heart tightened, and I felt a dull pain. Looking at me clutching my chest, he said impatiently, "Come on, stop pretending. Go back quickly. Mom just said Lila has a stomachache." As soon as I heard that our son had a stomachache, I didn't have time to argue with him and rushed home. When I got home, I found that Gabriel had lied to me again. I laughed bitterly over the years. He really knew how to manipulate me. I was so angry that I couldn't sleep, thinking about all my efforts over the years. I decided to have a good talk with Gabriel when he came back. In the middle of the night, he came back drunk. He pounced on me and kissed me. This was the first time he took the initiative after I gave birth. I thought he realized he had been too much tonight and was trying to apologize in this way. Thinking like this, most of my anger subsided, but when he touched the fat on my stomach, he stopped. "Elena, both of you are women. Why is Lila's stomach still flat after having a baby? She smells so nice. Why do you smell so disgusting? Look at yourself. What's the difference between you and a pig? All women are the same. Why are you so repulsive?" Suddenly, he was full of resistance, pushed me away, and slept on the edge of the bed. I was burning with the passion that had just been aroused, feeling extremely uncomfortable. Gabriel murmured with resentment, "If I had married Lila back then, I'd be having such a good time now." In an instant, it felt like a knife had stabbed my heart, and I felt a sharp pain. "Gabriel, I'm in pain." He clicked his tongue and didn't move. "Help me." My voice got weaker and weaker. He shouted impatiently, "You're too old to play such tricks. Aren't you disgusting? Look at your horrible appearance. Do you think you're a 20-year-old girl? Stop disgusting me. I gradually had difficulty breathing and died beside the man I thought I loved the most. Even when my soul was separated and floating in midair, he didn't look back at me once. Maybe it was because I died so pathetically that even God couldn't stand it and gave me a chance to be reborn when I opened my eyes again. Gabriel was holding flowers and confessing to me, Elena, give me a chance. I'll be good to you forever. No matter what happens in the future, I'll never leave you. You'll always be my little princess. The sunlight was so dazzling that it hurt my eyes. I knew immediately that I was reborn hearing Gabriel's words again. I felt an inexplicable nausea while I was in a daze. Lila exclaimed behind me, I'm back again. Just by looking into her eyes, I knew she was reborn too. After all, in the previous life, Lila was vain and married a rich old man, but she didn't expect that the old man was a domestic abuser. That night, Lila went out dressed like that and came back reeking of alcohol. I wasn't surprised at all that she was beaten to death. What? Gabriel was a bit stunned and asked blankly, looking at me with a complicated expression. I came to my senses, took a step back, and pushed Lila forward. She's liked you for a long time. We're good friends and I can't take away what someone else loves. Please stay away from me in the future. Don't you want to marry her? This life, I'll make your wish come true. As Lila's best friend for many years, I knew too well about her lazy and ambitious personality. But she really had liked Gabriel for a long time in the previous life. She had a falling out with me just because I agreed to be with Gabriel. She also spread rumors everywhere that I had been kept by someone. The rumors got more and more outrageous because of this. My family fell apart, and we became estranged from each other. Gabriel, who had sworn to believe me before marriage, used this as an excuse to pick fights with me countless times after marriage, when he saw that I had no support from my family this time around. I'll make you taste the same bitterness. Yes. Gabriel, I've liked you for a long time. Lila, who had come to her senses, snatched the flowers and said it out loud with courage. Then she whispered in my ear, this time, I definitely won't let you. If it weren't for you in the last life, I wouldn't have been beaten to death. I glanced at Gabriel from the corner of my eye. He looked stunned. Well, we had been flirting for a long time before he confessed to me, but neither of us had said it out loud. Everyone had taken it for granted that we were a couple naturally. He thought I would readily agree, but I called out to Oliver, who was passing by. Oliver, I'll come to take a photo with you when we take graduation photos tomorrow. Everyone was stunned. No one expected that I, a talented and beautiful classmate, would take the initiative to take a photo with the ordinary Oliver. Oliver was completely dumbfounded. It took him a long time to blush and stutter a yes before running away. At this time, Oliver had an ordinary appearance and average grade. She was just an unnoticed student in the class. That in the future, Oliver would become someone that everyone would look up to. Obviously, Lila didn't recognize him. Or perhaps she simply didn't know that this Oliver would become a business tycoon. Gabriel, look at her, floating around everywhere. What's there to like about her? She's only worthy of that nerdy guy who can't even speak properly. Hearing this, Gabriel's self-esteem was hurt at this moment. He gritted his teeth and said, Elena, what do you mean? I quickly ran away. Nothing. I wish you two a harmonious union for 100 years and an early birth of a precious son. Back in the dormitory, I threw away everything related to Gabriel. The gifts he gave me weren't valuable, just some postcards, small cups, etc. But in the previous life, I had treated them like treasures and wouldn't even let others touch them. Lila had even had a quarrel with me because of this. That now, I felt disgusted even looking at these things for one more second. Looking at that pile of junk, I stomped on them a few times, feeling both lucky and relieved. This scene was seen by Lila, who came back. She came straight to the point. Elena, I know you've been reborn to this time. I won't give in to you. I hope you have some self-awareness and stay away from Gabriel. She held the bouquet of flowers, looking like a dog desperately protecting its food. I smiled. Don't worry. I can't wait for him to be as far away from me as possible. I'll definitely be very happy after I marry Gabriel. Do you know that Gabriel publicly laughed at you for being fat, ugly, and like a pig that night? Elena, to be honest, you really became disgusting after having a baby, not to mention a successful person like Gabriel. I guess even someone like Oliver would dislike you in the previous life. You really embarrassed Gabriel, don't you worry. This time, I'll make everyone envy Gabriel, she said, her eyes shining. Full of confidence in the future, she seemed to forget that at this moment, Gabriel was still a penniless young man. She also didn't know that in the previous life, Gabriel's success was because of me, all those endless nights, countless drinks, and people I had to plead with. I carried it all alone. Later, when the company got on the right track and I had a baby, Gabriel said he didn't want me to be too tired, and that I should just go home and take good care of the child. Thinking of my vicious and difficult to deal with mother-in-law, I was hesitant, but Gabriel said, "A child raised by others won't have feelings for their parents. Since I was raised by my grandma since I was a child and didn't have much affection for my parents." Gabriel's words easily convinced me, and I willingly became a housewife, pulling my thoughts back. Lila said another sentence. "I won't be as stupid as you." "Well, since that's the case, I'll give you a hand." I picked up the gifts Gabriel gave me and stuffed them to her. "Go and tell Gabriel that he's just a poor guy who relies on financial aid to go to school and picks up leftovers to eat. He's not worthy of me. Tell him to stay away from me in the future." I knew Gabriel had a very strong sense of self-esteem, and these two things were what he cared about the most. As long as Lila relayed them with exaggeration and comforted him a little, he would definitely be with Lila to prove himself. That night, after Lila went out, I pretended to stutter and said to my roommates, "We Ray all graduating. I'll tell you something, but you mustn't tell anyone. I saw Lila getting off an old man's car several times this semester. She also asked me to accompany her to the gynecology department a few days ago." "Shh. You mustn't say anything." In the previous life, Lila had spread rumors in the dormitory on the night Gabriel confessed to me, but what she spread were rumors, while what I said were facts. Since college, Lila had been kept by several old men, and it was also true that she secretly went to the gynecology department a few days ago. Since she could fabricate things, I could of course tell the truth. The next day, when taking graduation photos, Gabriel showed up holding Lila's hand. The classmates all cast pitying glances at me. I, however, chased after Oliver. Taking photos from different angles, Gabriel glanced at me and said in a petulant tone, "Lila and I will get married right after graduation. We'll invite you all to our wedding then." Lila exclaimed, then shyly lowered her head and gently punched Gabriel. "You rascal, I should be twascal. You didn't give me any time to prepare." Others forced polite smiles and awkwardly said, Congratulations." I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. This was really a great piece of news. After taking the photos, I rushed back to the dormitory to pack my luggage. I felt disgusted even looking at these two despicable people for one more second and wished I would never have to see them again, but Gabriel quickly slipped into the dormitory right after I entered. "Elena, are you crazy? Why aren't things going as they did in the previous life? Did he get reborn too?" Drinking a bit of wine made me die suddenly and come back to this lousy era. I'm already annoyed enough. What do you mean by acting like this? Are you just throwing a tantrum? Don't you want to live the good life we had before as soon as possible? The anger that had been pent up in my heart suddenly dissipated in an instant. "Since you're reborn too, this is going to be even more interesting. Gabriel, you were the one who said it would be better if you had married Lila this life. I'm making your dream come true. What more could you possibly want?" You believe those drunk words of mine? It's normal for a man to talk dirty when he's drunk. Don't be so unreasonable. Are you stupid? We achieved success together in the previous life. If we seize an even bigger opportunity this life, we'll be even more remarkable. Oh, so he only loved himself all along. To avoid risks. He still wanted me to endure the hardships with him again. He knew that with me, success was certain. While with Lila, it was uncertain. If I let him deceive me again after being reborn, I'd even look down on myself. I've endured so much. And I'm definitely not going back. Gabriel, not only will I not be with you this life, but I'll also make you realize that without me, you'll still be that good-for-nothing who has to scrounge for food. He was stunned for a moment, and angrily said, "What a joke. Who do you think you are? I came to you just because we cooperated in the previous life, so I'm giving you this chance. Do you really think I can't do without you? I'm telling you, without you, I'll be even more successful in the future. Just wait and see. Watching Gabriel kick over the chair and leave in a huff, I smiled without me. Do you have a future? Gabriel, in the previous life, I never did anything to you. I even lowered my bottom line several times for you. That you made me feel like I was an extremely cheap and stupid person who was always trying to please you. Do you think I'll let you mock me with a smug look this life? As soon as Gabriel left, Lila rushed and she questioned me. What bad things did you say about me to Gabriel? You've enjoyed it in the previous life. It's my turn to enjoy this life. I'm warning you, don't mess up my plans. I smiled. Enjoy? In the previous life, I started a business with Gabriel right after graduation to save money. We lived in a basement and ate dry instant noodles for 3 meals a day. I became sallow and emaciated from those days, and my menstruation became irregular even when we had money later. I was still the one taking care of everything in the family. From cooking to cleaning because Gabriel said he didn't trust anyone else to take care of the home with that difficult and barbaric mother-in-law. I was constantly busy. I was exhausted both physically and mentally, yet all I got in return was being told that I was enjoying myself at home this life. You can have this fortune. I smiled and said, Lila, you're right. It's your turn to enjoy this life. I really want to see how you endure those tough days. I picked up my luggage and left. When I went downstairs, I saw Oliver. He was rubbing his hands, as if mustering up great courage. I've opened a studio. I'll come and help you, I said. In the previous life, Oliver opened a studio before he graduated. This had once become a joke among classmates. No one thought highly of ordinary Oliver. And everyone laughed at him, thinking he was daydreaming this life. Even if he didn't come to me, I would have gone to him. I want to work hard with like-minded people this time. I'm going to make myself my own queen. Although Oliver didn't talk much, he was serious and responsible in his work. He could handle any small task near perfectly. The day I officially joined Oliver's studio, Gabriel and Lila got married and even came around to the studio to give me an invitation. Gabriel put his arm around Lila, looked around the shabby studio, and mocked me. Short-sighted. Then he turned to Lila, honey, I'll definitely make you live a good life. A life 100 times better than hers. Lila replied with a smug look of agreement. I smiled faintly. You don't know this yet, but the honey you're talking about is actually a poor family girl from the village, just like you. Gabriel was stunned for a moment. Apparently, he still thought Lila was a wealthy young lady. Lila, seeing that I had said it out loud, immediately started cursing at me. Elena, you son of a bitch. You just can't stand to see me living a good life. Can you? You're just jealous of me. I shook my head. What is there for me to be jealous of? Am I jealous that you've picked up a worthless man, or that you're from a poor family? I'm just telling the truth. Lila was born in a rural area with a poor family. The money for her college was collected from each household in the village, but at school, she acted like a wealthy young lady, wearing luxury goods and being picked up and dropped off by luxury cars. Over time, the classmates all thought she was a rich girl, only I knew that behind her glamorous appearance were a series of dirty deals. The reason Gabriel married her so quickly, I think, was that he thought Lila was a wealthy young lady and could help him get back on the track of the previous life faster. After all, in the previous life, he also relied on the dowry from my parents to achieve his later success. Now, upon hearing that Lila was just a girl from a poor family, he was completely dumbfounded. It was a while before he asked in a hoarse voice, "Is what she said true?" Lila hung her head guiltily and remained silent. Seeing Lila didn't deny it, Gabriel got angry and left her without looking back. I added fuel to the fire from behind. "But you're short of money. Why don't you ask her to scrape some together from those old men?" After this incident, Lila's dirty secrets spread, and her wealthy daughter persona collapsed. Since then, everyone laughed at Gabriel for being the cuckolded fool, and Gabriel wanted to divorce Lila because of these things, making the whole situation well known. When Lila saw that things were exposed, she simply stopped pretending. She made trouble at home every day, scolding and even hitting Gabriel. Even Gabriel's mother, who had been extremely vicious to me, was put in her place when I heard about these messy things. I felt calm inside. I countless times rejoiced at being reborn and getting away from that scoundrel. I thought I would have no more contact with Gabriel in this life, but then my mother called me and asked me to go home immediately. When I got home, I found Gabriel kneeling in front of my parents, weeping bitterly. I almost forgot. In the previous life, Gabriel had knelt in front of my parents like this, saying he loved me, that he would be good to me for a lifetime, and begging my parents to approve our marriage. My parents, seeing his poor family background and that he didn't ask for a bride price, instead gave me a large dowry. And it was because of this dowry that Gabriel had a turning point and became an enviable wealthy man. But this time, he had clearly married Lila. How could he still have the nerve to show up here? I don't know what kind of sweet talk he gave my father, but my father looked at me with a straight face and said, "What have you done? You've tortured this nice young man like this?" "Yes, having fulfilled my obsession. Everything was going well. What are you up to?" My mother added. "Gabriel has already apologized to us. What more do you want?" Gabriel lowered his head, but there was a hint of pride in his raised eyebrows. My parents helped him up, glared at me, and said, "Don't worry. We'll stand up for you." In the previous life, because of some gossip, my parents and I became estranged and never contacted each other again. So now, hearing them say such things, I wasn't surprised at all. Gabriel, on the other hand, really had a thick skin. I gave a cold laugh. "Mom and Dad, do you know he's already married?" I hoped that once my parents knew he was married, they would stop pestering me, but what my father said was, "So what if he gets divorced? It's no big deal. Your mother and I are also remarried, and we had you. Men make mistakes. It's normal. What's the big deal?" My father said casually. And my mother nodded in agreement. No one cared whether my marriage would be happy or not. I simply secretly sent a message to Lila: "Let the villains deal with each other." I turned around to leave, but Gabriel came over and blocked my way. "If it weren't for Lila being a liar, I wouldn't have come back to beg you. Don't you remember? We need the money from your parents to get started. You've had your tantrum. Can't you think about me? Don't you really want to be as comfortable and glamorous as in the previous life?" I listened to him quietly, and the more I heard, the more I wanted to laugh. Comfortable and glamorous? How dare he say that? Gabriel, it was you who were comfortable and glamorous. Ask yourself, was I ever comfortable being with you for so long? I said each word slowly. Don't forget how you said I was embarrassing. Do you think I'll still fawn over you? He was stunned for a moment and was at a loss for words. My parents looked at each other in surprise. "What are you talking about?" Just then, Lila rushed in angrily. "Gabriel, what do you mean? You want to dump me just because I have no money? You wish." She rushed over, grabbed Gabriel's collar, and slapped him twice. "We're already married. What does it mean for you to come to this bitch?" Hearing this, I slapped her. "You to fight your own fight. If you mention me one more word, I'll tear your mouth apart." The slap. Lila vented her anger on Gabriel, slapping him several more times. Gabriel, who was pushed to the limit, no longer tolerated it. He forcefully pushed Lila down and picked up a stone to throw at her. For a moment, there was chaos and wailing. My parents were so scared by this scene that they kept backing away. I went over and said, "You're willing to push your daughter into the fire pit with such a person?" They stopped talking and lowered their heads in silence. After this commotion, my parents didn't look for me anymore. I wholeheartedly devoted myself to the studio. Oliver was in charge of technology, and I handled business. We cooperated better and better, and our business grew bigger and bigger. Meanwhile, Gabriel was still stuck in the same place, still believing that he would have a good life in just 2 years. At the first gathering after graduation, I dressed up carefully. That night, I arrived late. Before I even stepped into the private room, I heard Gabriel's words. "Don't mention her. I feel like vomiting every time I see that shrew. If she hadn't tricked me and cried, insisting on being with me, how could I have been with her? After I divorce her, I'll go back to Elena. Elena is my destiny. As long as I'm with her, I can turn things around and become a boss right away." He held a cigarette, speaking with great certainty. The classmates beside him looked at him like he was a fool, but he didn't care and poured himself a glass of wine on his own. "This is nothing. I'll take you all to France for a spree then." His words caused bursts of laughter just as I was about to step in. A figure rushed over, accompanied by a pungent smell. Hearing the voice, I recognized it was Lila. After not seeing her for a while, she had changed completely. Not only did she lose her former elegance, but she also became rather slovenly. The pungent smell came from her greasy hair as soon as Gabriel saw it was her. He shot up to his feet. "You!" Lila rushed forward and started pummeling him, cursing as she did so. "We can barely afford to eat, and you dare to steal my money to come to this gathering? I must have been extremely unlucky to marry you. You good for nothing. Besides eating, shitting, pissing, playing cards, and bragging, what else can you do? Even the dog at home is more useful than you." Gabriel scurried around, holding his head. His skillful dodging movements made it clear that he was often beaten by Lila. The classmates in the private room stepped aside consciously, munching on sunflower seeds and watching the show. None of them stepped forward to stop the fight. The show between the two of them was already exciting enough. But then Gabriel's mother showed up. Chasing after them. Seeing her son being chased and beaten, she joined the fray, trying to pull Lila away. In response, Lila turned around and gave her 2 slaps. "You old hag. How dare you touch me? Do you have a death wish?" Seeing the one surrogate mother-in-law being beaten into submission like a quail, I felt a rush of pleasure. In the previous life, when Lila was chasing Gabriel, she had fawned over her more than once. After I married Gabriel, she had mentioned Lila's virtues more than once, always saying that if Lila were her daughter-in-law she would be able to enjoy a good life. Well, in this life, let her enjoy this fortune to the fullest. In the end, all 3 of them were bleeding. Lila and Gabriel's mother fought until they had no strength left and then sat on the ground. Wailing, Gabriel grabbed one of them by the arm and dragged them out at the door. He finally saw me leaning against the doorframe. I was wearing a black form-fitting dress, with a curvy figure and a delicate face. He was slightly stunned, then lowered his head and tried to leave. I beckoned to the manager. "I'm not covering the drinks and the broken items of this gentleman, okay?" The manager sensibly stopped Gabriel and asked him to pay. With everyone watching, they couldn't scrape together 1,000 yuan even by pulling the contents of their pockets. In the end, Gabriel left reluctantly after leaving his ID card and phone as collateral. That night, I was showered with compliments and flattery from my classmates. The night breeze was unusually refreshing that night. The wine tasted especially good. To Oliver and I continued to expand our business and move to a larger studio. Meanwhile, Gabriel achieved nothing. He lived off his parents, spending every day on eating, drinking, having fun. When he was drunk, he would talk about the previous life, boasting about how glorious he was. Even after being reborn, he still thought that he would have the same glorious life as before without making any effort. Up to this point, he still refused to admit that his success in the previous life was because of me. Learning that Oliver and I were growing our business bigger and bigger, he finally couldn't sit still. He came directly to Oliver. When he saw the current Oliver, his eyes lit up, and his mouth fell open in an O shape. Obviously, he realized that this was the future tycoon Oliver. Excitedly, he sat in front of Oliver and started talking non-stop. "Oliver, you're going to become the richest man in the future. I'm telling the truth. Believe me, let me join your studio. I'll make you even richer. Oliver, your business will grow to be extremely large in the future. You'll have piles of money." Oliver replied, "Wouldn't lie. I know. Theft." I couldn't help but laugh out loud. "As for you," Oliver looked at me, "I'll listen to Elena." Oliver didn't say much, but every word was decisive. Clearly, Gabriel wasn't getting anywhere. He looked at me, and I smiled and said, "Even a dog can join, but you can't." He blocked my way. "Don't you think with me on board, you guys will be better off?" "Don't think so. Don't need you." He gritted his teeth. "Elena, I knew you still had feelings for me when you made things difficult for me last time." I felt like laughing even now. He was still so self-confident. "What do you think I want from you? Your poverty? You're being divorced? You're not taking a bath? Or your reliance on women for food, drink, and debauchery?" I said it. "I'll make you live worse than a dog this life." He was silent for a long time, then complained, "It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be in this mess." If it weren't for you, I'd already be halfway to success by now. I was speechless for a moment. Indeed, it was my fault. I was too young back then and couldn't tell good from bad. Even tofu has some substance. But he has none. Every word spoken to such a person made me feel both disgusted and stupid. Seeing that I wanted to leave, he grabbed me. Since it's your fault. You give me some money. I can make a comeback on my own, consider it as compensation from you when I succeed in the future. I raised my hand and slapped him. Can you have some self-respect? Given a chance to start over, can't you at least regain some dignity? Oliver noticed the tense atmosphere, stepped in front of me, and shouted at Gabriel. Get lost. Facing Oliver, who was a head taller than him, Gabriel backed down. As he ran, he threw out a threat. You two wait for me, 2 years. Just 2 years. You'll be the ones who can't afford to associate with me, Oliver said leisurely. It's been a long time since I heard someone brag so refreshingly. Then he turned to me and said, it's okay, just be yourself, leave the rest to karma. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed since graduation. In these 2 years, Oliver and I had opened a branch company. I was in charge of external affairs, and Oliver handled internal matters. Everyone knew me, Elena. But few knew about Oliver, and Oliver seemed to enjoy it that way. The only time everyone got to see Oliver's might was because of Lila. One day, Lila came to the company reception, holding a child. She sat there like a shrew, making a ruckus and demanding to see me. There was no way to avoid it, so I went out. The woman in front of me was disheveled and filthy. I almost didn't recognize her as Lila. As soon as she saw me, she came up to accuse me of ruining her. Elena, is it you who jinxed me? That's why my life has turned out like this. You knew what kind of person Gabriel was. Why did you push me into this hell? It's all your fault. All of it. You, Ray, the one who ruined me. As she ranted, she threw the child on the ground and sat down herself, crying and wailing from her intermittent curses. I pieced together her life in the past 2 years. Gabriel was lazy, indulging in eating, drinking, gambling, and even betrayed her countless times for money. She gave birth to a child, thinking that after 2 years, she would enjoy great wealth, but what she got was her mother-in-law seriously ill in the hospital. And Gabriel ran away, leaving her and their daughter with a mountain of debts. She had to hide from creditors with the child, having no fixed place to live. Seeing me smile, she stopped crying. Are you happy to see me like this? Happy? Not really, on the contrary. I felt quite calm. However, I did feel a twinge of pity when I saw the innocent child. Lila. Gabriel's success in the previous life was because of me. Without me, he lives worse than a dog. And you? Thinking that you could enjoy wealth by getting involved with Gabriel. Don't you think it's ridiculous? How dare you two, such despicable people, make fun of me back then? She looked up and muttered to herself. Why is God so unfair? We were both reborn. Why are you the only one who can succeed? Because my eyes can gently gaze at pain and keenly overlook prosperity. My hands can cook delicious food and also command a sailing ship. Because I'm neither humble nor arrogant, I love life. And I stay away from bad people. I said each word slowly. Lila was stunned, then shook her head and slumped to the ground. When I turned my head and wasn't paying attention, she picked up a stone and threw it at me. If Oliver hadn't rushed over to block it for me, that stone would have hit me right in the head. Oliver was furious. He stepped forward, grabbed Lila, and started dragging her out. Where are the security guards? Do you all not want to work anymore? Throw her out. If I see her again, none of you will keep your jobs. And if anything happens to Elena and the company, I won't let you off. What are you all standing there for? Move. Do I have to teach you? This was the most Oliver had ever said at once and the angriest I'd ever seen him. Everyone was stunned for a few seconds before they reacted. Looking at Lila being dragged out, I waved my hand to stop them. I walked up to her, looked down at her, and chuckled. You're really confident, having a child in such a situation. Unlike me. I was so anxious about money right after graduation. Lila, to be honest, you really became disgusting after having a baby. I won't keep you. Leave, and don't come back. I threw back her own words at her. Word for words. He didn't deserve to have any more contact with me for the rest of her life. From that day on, I learned that Oliver had a temper. And when he got angry, he could scare everyone, but his bad temper was never directed at me. At work, no matter how much I argued or made a fuss, he would just smile foolishly and say, "I'll listen to you." I even teased him, saying that he would lose face like this in public. He still just smiled and said, "As long as you have face, that's enough." Looking at him, I suddenly remembered a saying, "Meeting the right person will spoil you like a child. Meeting the wrong person will drive you crazy." That was exactly the case with Lila and me. Epilogue, 10 years later. Oliver and I had a son and a daughter. And our company was officially listed. Oliver loved me as consistently as he had for 10 years and never let me suffer any grievances during the period when my figure got out of shape after giving birth. He ate and drank a lot to gain weight and accompany me. After I recovered physically, he accompanied me to lose weight and get back in shape. It turns out that a person who truly loves you will stay with you even when you're not at your best. I saw Gabriel again 20 years later. One day, Oliver and I were walking hand in hand by the river when we met a ragged beggar. He was hunched over, and his dirty body gave off a pungent smell. As we passed by, I heard him mumbling, "Elena, Helena, Elena." If I had married Elena back then, it would have been so much better. I paused, and he also stopped. His timid, muddy eyes saw me through his wild-looking white hair in that instant. His wrinkled face was filled with vicissitudes and hopelessness. His body trembled, and his steps became even more unsteady. The despair in his eyes seemed to reach the abyss. I felt like I had seen something extremely disgusting. I covered my nose and quickly pulled Oliver away. After walking a distance, I heard a furious shout, "Elena, that I had married you back then, I'd be having such a good time now."